Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the INFJ personality type. Who are the INFJs? What are some of their traits? What cognitive functions do they use? How do they process the world? If you're pumped to learn about the INFJ personality type, give this video a thumbs up. The INFJ type is known as the advocate or the sage, and some words that are often used to describe INFJs are wise, thoughtful, warm, mysterious, caring, insightful, helpful, complex. The INFJ type is said to be the rarest personality type, with around 1% of the population being INFJ. This is a very complex type. There are lots of traits that seemingly contradict one another. For example, this type tends to be outgoing introverts, almost like a thinker-feeler hybrid. Messy yet organized. The outer world and the inner world of the INFJ can be quite different. We can kind of feel like human icebergs, like most of us kind of resides beneath the surface. We can often feel like our biggest pieces are invisible to most people, except for maybe some other intuitives, especially any extroverted intuitive types, but we'll save that for another video. Let's take a look at the INFJ cognitive stack. INFJs process with the following cognitive functions. Number 1, introverted intuition. Number 2, extroverted feeling. Number 3, introverted thinking. Number 4, extroverted sensing. Introverted intuition is our go-to. It's our number 1. It's our preferred method of operation. We are like picking up energies and subtleties, micro expressions. We're always like looking for that deeper meaning. Always kind of going like below the surface. We like to abstract things. A lot of times we will push down our sensing function, that is extroverted sensing. And actually, introverted intuition and extroverted sensing are on an axis with one another. So our preferences are highly polarized towards intuition. The way this can kind of play out, like my awareness is constantly looking for connections. I'm not even doing this on purpose. It's just like something that can be running in the background or the foreground, either one. We abstract constantly, like without even trying. It's just effortless for us. We're super imaginative, very aware of possibilities, extremely future oriented. We have a hard time sometimes staying present in the present moment. What we do with all those possibilities is we kind of eliminate them one by one until we can find that best number 1 path, the best possible future for ourselves. We are extremely adept at visionary type work. That is like strategic planning, goal setting, goal achievement. Once we have that one best path, if we can nail down that laser focus, we are a force to be reckoned with, y'all. There's an intensity to us. We can be extremely driven, and also we can sometimes feel like we have to hide that intensity, like we'll scare people off if we let people see it. But we will share our inner worlds with a few select people, but we'll kind of save it for the people we think can handle it. The shadow side to that drive is kind of this tendency towards perfectionism. We often have a hard time starting things because so much of starting, you have to kind of let go of perfectionism and start imperfectly. And we're trying to get on that one best path. And so a lot of times we get in our own ways and end up kind of in analysis paralysis. Extroverted feeling. This is our parent function. I know we haven't talked about cognitive function slots yet, but the parent function tends to be very responsible. Think about like an actual parent, kind of almost like with a negative protective type vibe. So we are very protective over other people's feelings. We get drawn to social justice. We are helpers and people-focused idealists who want to make a better world for everybody. Many of us often get mistaken for extroverts, and that is because we are very warm, very outgoing, extremely friendly. We can use that NI, that introverted intuition, combined with our extroverted feeling, and we can really like soak in a person and connect on deep, meaningful levels. We are natural counselors, and we often get relied on by our closest friends for advice, insight, and empathy. We're extremely understanding people. We understand everyone super well, even the extremely hard to understand other types. We are, however, in fact, introverts. Once we have kind of dealt with people for a while or dealt with the external environment a lot, we really have to kind of go into hermit mode. We kind of retreat, step back, and recover. We do gain our energy from being alone. Part of that, a big part of that, is our introverted intuition. It needs to kind of ruminate on things. And we need time to just kind of do almost nothing and just let that stuff kind of process. Now, while that NIFE combination can make us masters of connection, we find it very hard to find people that can actually see and understand us and connect back on a meaningful level. This is the cause of a lot of persistent loneliness and confusion for the INFJ. It's like, if I'm so good at understanding these people, why can't I find just a few that like really understand and connect to me? We are extremely interested in people and human behavior, and I have the personal belief that the INFJ we're extremely interested in people, in human behavior, and I have a personal belief that the INFJ personality type is disproportionately attracted to MBTI more than most types. That's why you hear a lot of people saying like, INFJs, like, they're not rare, they're everywhere you look. We just really like MBTI because we're seeking that understanding, not just because of our love for people, but we're like trying to understand ourselves. When I read about my type, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, this is a thing. Suddenly I have an understanding for the things I struggle with and why. I understand why I operate and feel so differently from everyone else. It was extremely validating. And MBTI can become like an easy button. It's almost like one of our life hacks to like connect to people even better on an even deeper level. We love to deepen our own understanding. And speaking of understanding, that leads to our introverted thinking, which is our third function. It's in the child slot. Functions that reside in the third spot, that's the child function, are very innocent and also very positive. So our thinking can be very innocent. TI is like logos, and that means absolute truth. We don't necessarily put a lot of stock in credentials or degrees or certifications. We just want to know absolute truth. Oh gosh, we have a thirst for understanding. And if you happen to be an Enneagram 5 or have a 5 wing like I do, man, that curiosity can be off the charts. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like sometimes my curiosity is dragging me through life. It's that TI, like, I gotta know what's true. It's like my NI picks up on something and like, I need to go see if it's true. I need to find out the absolute truth. We can be excellent BS detectors, but conversely, we can be completely oblivious at times. That can be to our TI child, which again is very innocent thinking, and also in our shadow functions, which we'll mention in a minute, we have TE trickster. Number 4, extroverted sensing inferior. This function is kind of amusing to me. Like I said, our perceiving functions are the most polarized. We highly favor intuition over sensing. We favor deeper meanings over like what's literally right in front of our face. So we may prefer to kind of like push extroverted sensing things away from ourselves, or conversely, we can operate in the extreme. We can be keenly aware of subtleties in our sensory environment, but we can also be completely immersed in inner world and be completely oblivious to what's going on around us in the 5 senses world. We can also be a bit messy, like we like things generally organized, but as we retreat into that inner world, we can develop little piles of mess. I know you guys can't see around me right now, but I am hiding out of frame the piles of clutter around me at this very moment. I can go like that for a while, and then all of a sudden something will just hit me and I'll just realize how much the clutter is bothering me, and I'll go into like hyper organizing mode. It's very extreme. I'm working on doing this more level-headed and more balanced way, but this is just how I've always operated. It's like one extreme or the other. This is a very common thing for INFJs, I'm learning. Also, we can get super good at a few key extroverted sensing things. Some INFJs make fantastic athletes. If they practice and get really good at some parts of our extroverted sensing, we can be the best at it. When you combine that extroverted sensing with our NI, it can make us very good at different types of sports or physical activities. A lot of INFJs perform, and that's another area of extroverted sensing. I am a singer. I grew up singing and playing the piano, and so I'm on camera right now. I'm comfortable being in front of other people. Again, it can be so contrary. You can have an INFJ who's like an Olympic athlete, yet they will struggle with navigating a very busy airport. I myself struggle with the Atlanta airport. It just completely overwhelms me. I can do it, but it takes a lot of energy. It seems like it takes me more energy to do that than a lot of other people. I do want to mention 4 sides of the mind here. I plan to do a future video of this in depth, but I wanted to mention the 4 sides of the mind for the INFJ. Basically, the theory states that we will go into these other 3 sides of our mind. Our ego is the INFJ and the 4 functions we just discussed. However, in times of stress or chaos or feeling out of control, we can go into these other sides of our mind, kind of like when our ego, we feel like fails us, we need more tools. We do this subconsciously. This has been a great learning tool for me. And like I said, I want to make a whole different video about this. I don't want this to get too long. But very briefly, we will go through the 4 sides of the mind for the INFJ. It would be our subconscious, and we have a ESTP subconscious. That's like your alpha, like super sensing dominant, kind of like athlete or gym rat. That's what I picture. It's basically our same 4 functions flipped upside down. I'm gonna put a visual here to show you guys. So it's our same 4 functions, we're just kind of changing the order of them, going into opposite order. The cool thing about 4 sides of the mind is when you have an awareness of it, you can use these 4 sides of your mind intentionally, and you can grow them and learn to use them in very powerful ways. For example, I recently made a real estate purchase, and it was actually for this studio that I'm in right now. I purchased this place to be my content creation studio. It's the only real estate purchase that I've made that I will not live in. This is not my residence. However, when I was doing this, I was very much in my ESTP subconscious. I became super alpha. I was like, here are the facts, here are the comps, here's what I'm willing to pay. I became no nonsense. I was like, here's my boundary. I even walked away from the purchase at one point, and I was not stressed about it at all. I was just like, I'm not doing that. Eventually the seller came back around and it all worked out. The second side of the mind is our shadow or unconscious. This is a little bit deeper. Basically, it's the other 4 of the 8 cognitive functions that do not reside in our ego. So the INFJ shadow is ENFP. This also happens to be our mirror type, our golden pair, supposedly on paper, the one that we're the most compatible with, the most synchronistic with. On paper anyway, it doesn't always play that way in real life. We will get to compatibility more in a future video. But for me personally, my ENFP comes a lot out when I'm on camera or when I'm performing. I become very adaptable. My NE kind of steps up. That's an ENFP's dominant function is extroverted intuition. My NE and FI kind of comes out. I become very expressive, kind of spur of the moment, out of the box, creative. Again, this can happen under stress. You look more like an unhealthy ENFP, or it can happen intentionally. Our last side of the mind would be our superego. This is the one that's furthest away. We subconsciously save this for dead last. It's the last place we want to go. For the INFJ type, our superego is ISTJ. The ISTJ type is like, it's the cold, hard justice. It's the people who do what's right. A lot of doctors are the ISTJ type, a lot of academics. How this manifests in the INFJ superego is, okay, well, my ego has tried to make you happy with my FE and my SE. I've tried to give you a good experience. It's just not working. You're not treating me right, or for whatever reason. And we just go into like cold, hard, unemotional, like robot mode, basically. A lot of times this is known as the INFJ door slam. I kind of cringe at that sentiment. I kind of even cringe at that term. I feel like it gets overplayed and like misapplied to the wrong thing. An INFJ door slam happens when we have exhausted all possibilities. We see usually a relationship situation as like completely hopeless, and we just basically go into you're dead to me mode. We basically just say, I'm just going to focus on my own experience now, do what's good for me, do what's right for me, and basically like you no longer exist to me. We can become cold to that person. Genuinely, we have come to the conclusion that that is for either our own good or the good of the person involved. It can be for a variety of reasons. I've only door slammed one person in real life, and it was when I was like 18. And I don't have any ill feelings toward this person. I just was like, I'm done. This relationship is not good for me. It was a friendship. And I told her too, I was like, I'm done. I can't be your friend anymore. And I told her exactly why. And it was sad. And we were young, and I feel like door slam gets used to describe a process that is actually ghosting, and that is very different. Ghosting is done out of cowardice, out of avoidance. It's very different from a door slam. A healthy door slam is kind of where things need to go. You've used that NI to be like, okay, this person's not on my best possible path. Being involved with this person is not what's good for me. It's not what's good for them. I'm out. Yeah, so our ISTJ superego can get activated. We just kind of become cold. We go cold. We're genuinely really warm people usually. But when someone's done us wrong, or when we're kind of on our last straw, we just go cold. We do exactly what's expected of us, nothing more. I've done this at a job where I became completely disgruntled. I went full ISTJ mode, and I was just like, I'm doing what is expected of me, nothing more. I'm focusing on my own experience. I'm not going above and beyond anymore, and I'll be looking for a new job from this point forward. You're pretty much dead to me. There can be several flavors of INFJ. Some famous INFJs are Jesus and Adolf Hitler, and we can be that and everything in between. So you got like your Jesus and your Mother Teresa's on one side, and then you got like your Marilyn Mansons and your Adolf Hitlers on the other side. So as you can see, there can be a very wide range of flavors of INFJs. In a lot of these groups, like at the Facebook groups and stuff that I'm in that discuss personality type, I see people will take an experience they've had with one or two INFJs and paint the entire population. I hate when I see people do this with any type. Don't judge an entire group by their most struggling members. You have your INFJs that come across a little more intellectual, that maybe mistyped as an INTJ. Trauma or extreme stress in early childhood can pull us into the other sides of the mind. So those people may get typed more as an ESTP or an ENFP. You have your INFJs that go really hard in their extroverted sensing in a very specialized area, and they can be mistyped as an ESTP or one of the sensing DOMs. I feel like for me, a lot of people see me, a lot of my like casual friends see me more as an ISFJ. That can be frustrating because not that I hate ISFJs, I love them. It's just not who I am. SI, the ISFJ's dominant function, is very, very different from NI. INFJs can differ from person to person. Probably one of the most well-known and probably one of the most well-known fictional characters that I relate to is Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother. I do believe he was an INFJ, and I also believe he was an Enneagram 4 Wing 5 like myself. I related so hard to Ted. I just loved that show so much, and I could relate to so much of what he was saying, how he processed, how he over-romanticized things. Let's see, who else? Other famous INFJs, Nicole Kidman is said to be an INFJ, Kate Blanchett. Who else? Let's look up. I gotta look up some more INFJs because I'm drawing a blank here. Nelson Mandela, Carl Jung, the father of MBTI and personality science. He himself was an INFJ. Al Pacino is an INFJ. Tom Selleck. You can see how they have kind of those like mysterious qualities. I mean, you can kind of see it. I kind of see it. Ooh, Jerry Seinfeld. I love this one. There are a lot of INFJ comedians. I kind of think, have y'all seen that dude, JP Sears? I love him. I highly suspect he's an INFJ. He's a life coach and he's super funny, and I've just heard him talk so much that I'm like, I'm pretty certain he's an INFJ. Adam Sandler, there's another INFJ comedian. I don't know if all these are right. It cut me off. A lot of the philosophical types have been said to be INFJs, such as Plato. Oh, J.K. Rowling, the author of all like the Harry Potter series. Eleanor Roosevelt. Shirley Temple, you can see how her extroverted sensing kind of played out. All right, anyway, I hope this video was helpful. We will have many other INFJ topics to talk about in future videos. In fact, I take requests. If you heard something in this video that you want me to dig down on, leave me a comment below and let me know. I love hearing from you guys. I want to know what you want to see. What questions do you have about INFJs? Are you an INFJ? Do you know your Enneagram type? Leave me a comment below, let me know. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you found something in this video that was useful, helpful, valuable. If so, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon for more videos on personal development, creativity, and intentional living. This is a brand new channel. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. All right, that wraps it up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.